So when I played for country for the first time, and when I scored the winning goal against Pakistan, when we came back to India, and when I landed in Mumbai, मतलब 40 साल हमारे घर पे लाइट नहीं थी, and from airport I was directly taken to Mathurshi when Bala Saheb Thackeray was alive, and he directly took me to Mathurshi and he said, हम उनके घर पे बैठे थे, बोला सांग बाड़ा काय पाहिजे तुला, and I said, सर मैं अभी इंडिया के लिए खेलने लग गया और मुझे बहुत भरोसा है कि मैंने बहुत मेहनत किया इतने सालों में, और मुझे लगता है कि मैं आगे और भी खेलूंगा, एंड माय फैमिली हैज स्टेड विदाउट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, वाटर कनेक्शन एंड सो ऑन फॉर सो मेनी इयर्स. मैं चाहता हूँ कि सिर्फ मेरे घर पे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी लग जाए. यू वोंट बिलीव, फ्रॉम मातुश्री, फ्रॉम कलानगर टू मरीन ड्राइव वेयर आई यूज्ड टू स्टे, इट हार्डली टेक्स 45 मिनट्स. बाय द टाइम आई केम बैक मेरे घर पे लाइट लग गई थी. सो आई थिंक स्पोर्ट्स ने मेरा एक चीज लाइफ चेंज किया है कि आई ऑलवेज से दिस, my journey has been from darkness to light. So my sports has given me that light and the ray of hope to play sport.
Our guest today, Yuvraj Walmiki, is a world-class hockey player who has won numerous gold medals for India at various significant hockey tournaments. He represented India in the 2011 Asia Champions Trophy and also played in the 2014 World Cup. He is the only player to have played German Hockey League for over 8 years continuously. Recently, Yuvraj has taken over social media and is doing his utmost best to promote sports in the country. In today's podcast, we talk about his inspiring journey, his thoughts on sports politics, his thoughts on dealing with the pressure of doing well, and much more. Quickly hit that subscribe button and the post notification bell, and let's get started with today's podcast. Hey Yuvraj, welcome on to the Career Show. Thank you so much for taking the time out and being with us on this Sunday afternoon.
Thank you so very much. I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect. So, let's get right into it. The first thing that I want to ask you is, you are a huge inspiration to each and every Indian hockey player, right? When did you know you wanted to get started in hockey? Did you always know that hockey is that one thing that you want to do for the rest of your life?
Honestly, it was never planned. I never thought of being a hockey player. And of course, the year when I started was 1999, when I was 10 years old. Tiny puny boy going in 6th standard. There was this song trending, I'm a Barbie girl in my Barbie world. So me and my classmate Boone D'Souza, we both were actually going to perform on that song annual day पे. And one fine day, he comes up and there was this newspaper in Mumbai called Free Press Journal. So वो आके मुझे बोला, UV, my picture has come in the newspaper. And I was like, okay. And the whole classroom like went gaga. I mean, 10 साल के लड़के का छोटा सा passport size picture आना paper में. It was a huge thing for me as well, for him as well. So, and I don't know, I just said, Boone, even I want to play hockey. And the reason I wanted to play hockey was to see my picture in the newspaper. So that day it started कि मुझे hockey player बनना है because newspaper में photo देखना है. Because Boone के dad hockey ground में doctor थे. So, he was born and brought up there itself. So my first thing to him was, bro, I can't afford a hockey stick or a ball. So he said, I've been playing there, I've been born there. So a lot of, senior players come. So छोड़ के चले जाते हैं. So I have few, sticks and balls. So I'll give it to you. So when I came home, I told my mom that I want to play hockey. And I still remember her words. I think until my last breath, I'll remember that. The first thing she told me, I don't know why she said that. I still, wonder that if you want to play, please make sure that you are going to make it big. Yeah, I don't want you to waste my time, not your time, nor your coach's time. You have to do it like thinking you're going to be the best. So from, I don't know, I just went there. Initially क्या होता था, it was only for fun, सोचते थे कि क्लासरूम से थोड़ा बंक करने मिल जाएगा, history class, maths class, science class, so I'll just go out and play hockey. But slowly, gradually, I will say it became a passion. And today I will say hockey is like a bread butter. And hockey has given me everything, I will say. And that one moment I felt that I'm born to play hockey is in the year 2005 when I joined Bank of India. Very few people know this. At the age of 15, 2005, and playing for a team like Bank of India, and that too on a stipend. And my dad used to drive a private car, and my dad used to earn 3,000 rupees that time. And my first check, which I got, was 3,500.
Wow.
At the age of 15, and 3,500 उस time बहुत amount था. And the first time I gave that check to my parents and I said, मुझे stipend मिला है Bank of India से, तब मुझे ऐसा लगा कि जो घर में इतनी problems थी, अब थोड़ी कम होने लग जाएगी. So I think that day I felt, Yuvraj, you're born to play hockey. And that day I will say I felt कि बैंक ऑफ इंडिया का हमने लोगो पहन लिया था, मैंने उसके पहले रिपब्लिकन्स का पहना था। फिर मुझे एक ख्याल आने लग गया, and उस चीज पे से आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग मोर हार्ड, आई वुड से आई वाज रियली हार्ड ऑन माई सेल्फ that
Mhm.
I want to have that tricolor on my chest. I think that was that
Mhm.
motto, 2005, I would say.
Wow. Wow, that's an insane journey, and so happy to hear that as well. But you know, the fact that your mom told you to make it big, like once you hear that from your parents, you tend to get a sense of discipline within you to make it big. Putting that tricolor logo is not an easy thing for anyone.
Yeah, and also, the like when you're from Mumbai and the city which we stay, it's very vast and too fast in terms of thinking. And a guy who was born in a slum like me, I was born in a slum, staying in 10 by 10 square feet house, no electricity, no water connection, not even a toilet for 40 years. And वो stage पे if your parents tell you to play hockey, which is not that famous, I will say, though being the national sport, और जो लोग क्या कहते हैं, चाहे हमारे पास 8 Olympics medal है, we talk about it a lot, but for your parents to say that pick up a sport which is not so popular, has lost the glory for so many years. क्रिकेट शायद होता तो कोई भी बोलता खेल लो यार, सचिन तेंदुलकर बन जाओ या कुछ बन जाओ, आई एम 100% श्योर। बट टू इन अ स्लम, कि मैंने अपने खुद के कलीग्स को देखा है, उनके माँ बाप यही बोलते हैं कि 10वीं तक पढ़ाई करो, प्यून का नौकरी करो और घर संभालो। आप कहाँ ये सब हॉकी हॉकी खेल रहे हो, कहाँ आपका फ्यूचर है? बट जैसा आपने कहा कि वो एक सेल्फ मोटिवेशन तो वहां से ही मिल गया कि यार करना है। अगर हमारे जब घर वाले इतना सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं और ऐसे स्पोर्ट्स को खेलने बोल रहे हैं जिसको इतना महत्व नहीं है, क्या पता मैं इसमें आने के बाद शायद महत्व हो जाए ये स्पोर्ट्स का।
Mhm.
तो वो
Correct.
मेंटालिटी से स्टार्ट किया था, एंड कहीं ना कहीं आज मुझे अच्छा लगता है कि व्हेन आई सी माय सोशल मीडिया, व्हेन आई सी माय
Mhm.
पीपल फॉलोइंग मी, माय फैन फॉलोइंग, आई ऑनेस्टली एक आई गेट दिस सेंस ऑफ सेटिस्फैक्शन कि जो भी
Mhm.
चुना अच्छा
100%.
चुना, एंड लोग आपको रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं वो चीज के लिए।
You mentioned that once you bring in cricket, people are like, okay, cricket becomes Sachin Tendulkar. That also brings me to the fact of infrastructure. You know, cricket is a very big thing in India. But when
Yeah,
it comes to hockey, what are your thoughts on the infrastructure provided to hockey?
I will say it's getting there. It's getting
Mhm.
better. We are in the world ranking 4, which is a huge step for Indian hockey. And currently, the team which is going for Tokyo, as I said in my last interview, I have a gut feeling, and I always tell this, I'm so sure Indian hockey will come up with a medal. This is my gut feeling. And talking about the infrastructure, there's always a room for improvement. And I've been telling this for a while now. If you want to make a non popular sport into a popular sport, make sports the compulsory subject in school. He or she has to pick up a sport like we do for Hindi, Marathi, or English. It's mandatory that you have to pick up a sport, and you have to play an outdoor sport, not just because you want to go and represent the country, but the rest of your life you stay a very disciplined, very dedicated life. And sports teaches you one thing, and I always say this, that sports has to be an integral part of everyone's life, because even though you fail in your business, your so anything you do in your life, if you play sport, even if you do it for fun, you, it's 100% sure that you will get up again, and you will be like, no, I want to. You get that fighting spirit, you have that sense of coming back, comeback wala us आ जाता है आपके अंदर. So I think that's very important. मैं हमेशा यही कहता हूँ कि अगर आपको कोई भी खेल बढ़ाना है, make it into a school. Then you see we will produce a lot more champions, in across the country, and they will be there, standing at the podium at the Olympics, at the World Championship, whether it's hockey, cricket, football, anything for that matter.
You said making sports an integral part of school gives
Yeah,
students a sense of discipline. What I also want to ask you is, in your life, what has sports given you? I'm 100% sure it's given you discipline, but what else has sports given you in your life?
I think sports has given me, obviously, name, fame, you can talk about it, but I think one thing that sports has given me, I will say, I never thought this, because as I said, we were staying in a house, it was 40 years without electricity, and I personally experienced it till 21. When I was 21 years old, that is 2011. So when I played for country for the first time, and when I scored the winning goal against Pakistan, when we came back to India, and when I landed in Mumbai, you know मतलब 40 साल हमारे घर पे लाइट नहीं थी, एंड फ्रॉम एयरपोर्ट आई वाज डायरेक्टली टेकन टू मातोश्री व्हेन बाला साहेब ठाकरे वाज अलाइव, एंड ही डायरेक्टली टुक मी टू मातोश्री एंड ही सेड, हम उनके घर पे बैठे थे, बोला सांग बाड़ा काय पाहिजे तुला, एंड आई सेड सर मैं अभी इंडिया के लिए खेलने लग गया और मुझे बहुत भरोसा है कि मैंने बहुत मेहनत किया इतने सालों में, और मुझे लगता है कि मैं आगे और भी खेलूंगा, एंड माय फैमिली हैज स्टेड विदाउट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, वाटर कनेक्शन एंड सो ऑन फॉर सो मेनी इयर्स। मैं चाहता हूँ कि सिर्फ मेरे घर पे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी लग जाए। You won't believe, from Maturshi, from Kalanagar to Marine Drive, where I used to stay, it hardly takes 45 minutes. By the time I came back, मेरे घर पे लाइट लग गई थी। So I think sports ने मेरा एक चीज लाइफ चेंज किया है कि I always say this, my journey has been from darkness to light. So my sports has given me light. So I will say, and that way I kept on shining, and I keep trying and keep working every single day, thinking that I will shine more in the coming times. So sports has given me that light and the ray of hope to play sport.
Wow, that's a very interesting approach to looking at things.
Yeah.
Uh, that actually gave me chills while I was listening to your story as
Right.
well. Coming back to some more light-hearted questions. You started playing for India. You had been playing domestic leagues. Also playing some global leagues all across the world. You're the
Right.
only player who's played in the German league for 8 years.
Right.
Do you want to talk about any fun incident with your teammates that you've had? One that is always at the top of your mind in terms of your friendship with the team?
I will say, when I go to Europe, that one team bonding which gets us closer is chai, and every second day you will see three people, even from the women's team.
Mm.
Women's team where I play in Hamburg, they're like, you be chai, you be chai. So they come, and I think the conversation which we have on that chai, I and then I always tell to the German guys, ki there's a saying in India, chai pe charcha, and that implements in Germany, in fact, not in India. So I will say a lot that small things get closer, and I try to learn a lot of German. I have learned, I will say 20-30% of German I can speak, and उनका थोड़ा culture के बारे में जानना, and of course game वेम तो अपनी जगह है, but I think that off the field connection gets us more closer than on the field connection. So I think there are, हाँ, so I mean बहुत सारे incidents हैं.
Talking about your time abroad, talking about your time working in these, playing in these foreign leagues, do you also want to talk about your transition from the Indian team to the foreign leagues?
2009, when I was dropped 13 times in the junior Indian team, and I actually lost hope. And 6 months I quit hockey. And then one of my friend, my senior players, Dhananjay Mahadik and Sandeep Singh, so I played along with him, who जिसके ऊपर सुरमा movie है. They recommended me to go and play in Germany, in Frankfurt. And there was a club called TG Frankenthal. So for the first time when I went there, honestly it was like zamin asman ka farak tha. And मतलब एज आई प्ले एज अ स्ट्राइकर, बट वहां पर मुझे बोल रहे थे कि आप डिफेंस करो. एंड मैं उनको एक ही चीज बोला कोच को कि मेरा इतना टाइम निकल गया हॉकी खेल के, 10-15 साल हो गए, मुझे कोई भी इंडिया में लोगों ने ये नहीं बताया, कोच ने, कि आपको डिफेंड भी करना है. तो उन्होंने मुझे एक लाइन बोली थी उस टाइम की, द फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस इज द अटैकर. So if you run back and defend, then the defenders has less pressure. So वहां से मतलब वो ट्रांजिशन था. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि Germany has made me a complete player in terms of defensive role, in terms of, and वहां पर एक चीज मैंने और सीखा था कि you cannot be born to play one position. You have to be a versatile player. You have to be a coach's player, that जहां पर भी कोच आपको डिमांड करे, आपको वो पोजीशन पे खेलना है. So I think it made me a multi-player in terms of striking में, because पहले मैं ऐसा था कि मैं सिर्फ सेंटर फॉरवर्ड खेलता था. फिर मुझे जब जर्मनी जाने के बाद राइट आउट, राइट इन, लेफ्ट आउट. So I think whatever I learned in Germany, I tried and implemented in the Indian camps, and that made me a easier process to get into the Indian team, I will say. When 2011, when I got a call for the national camp, there were 110 players, and in
Wow,
the
that's a
forward
lot.
line there was like क्रेजी अमाउंट. जो प्लेयर्स थे, सारे लोगों ने 200 मैचेस खेले थे कंट्री के लिए, राइट फ्रॉम तुषार खांडेकर, शिवेंद्र सिंह, दीपक ठाकुर, प्रभजोत सिंह.
Mm.
And you won't believe, in 2011 in the Indian camp, I used to do the 3D skill, which is like air dribbling. And इंडिया में वो 2012-2013 में लोगों ने इम्प्लीमेंट किया था, कोचेस ने. And जब मैं कैंप में कर रहा था तो everyone was shocked. And we had this foreign coach called Michael Knopps from Australia. He called me and he said, "What's your name?" I said, "Yuvraj." "How could you do this?" I said, "I just came back from Germany playing there for 3 months."
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, I was there in the Indian, out of 110, I got selected in the first 11. So I was playing in the first 11. So I think Germany has always been my, we'll say, a takeaway, whatever I learned there, and I implemented in the Indian team. Yeah. So
Moving ahead, the next thing that I wanted to touch on is also the fact that what happens in sport is when you're at your prime, people tend to love you, right? However, once you start falling back, people tend to forget you.
forget.
It's a very common thing that happens all across the world. As a sports player, it can be very hard. Is that correct? And if it is, how can one deal with it?
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. It happens. It happened with me as well. When I was
Mhm.
dropped in 2016 for probably 1.5 years, people just forget you. They only talk about you. You know,
Mhm.
Arey, acha player tha. But they will
Exactly.
never say that, he can still make a comeback.
Mhm.
But, they will talk, in groups, but they will not write on social media, because I don't know the reason why. But that one thing I will never let that happen with me is because I understood in 2017 mid or 2018, I will say, I said ये नाम को युवराज को मिटने नहीं दूंगा. Some way or the
Mhm.
other, I will keep myself busy and keep myself busy in the news. Then I
Mhm.
went on and I did खतरों के खिलाड़ी, which was on
Correct.
colors. I said ठीक है, कोई हॉकी प्लेयर ने नहीं किया ना रियलिटी शो, मैं करता हूँ बॉलीवुड साइड. I went to Siachen Glacier with Arjun Rampal and everything. Everyone run Vijay, and I said, "चलो और news में रहेंगे." Then I started, you know, training kids. I said, "हॉकी ने इतना दिया है, let's give back to the sport." And जो शायद हमको नहीं मिला, I don't want any kid to go through that phase of, because आज का generation ऐसा है कि 10 marks कम आते तो लोग suicide करते. Forget about being dropped or anything. 13 times I got dropped there. Never got into it. I never played for Mumbai then juniors. I directly went on to play in the senior Indian team. I got last camp which I got dropped was Junior World Cup. But then I played 2014 Senior World Cup. So I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. And one thing I will say, ki, it's all at the end. It's all about sports person. आप क्या सोचते हो. एंड फिर मैंने सोचा कि मैं अपने नाम से मैं एक गांव को अडॉप्ट करता हूँ. तो मैंने और मेरे भाई ने, देवेंद्र, हु हिमसेल्फ इज एन ओलंपियन, ही प्लेड 2016 रियो ओलंपिक्स, हमने जाके नासिक में एक संगम नगर का एक गांव को 140 दो बच्चों से स्टार्ट किया था. टुडे वी हैव 140 किड्स. एवरी ईयर we make sure that we send them equipments, we send them this, we send them everything. हमारा ये टारगेट इन द कमिंग once the school starts in Mumbai, we are coming up with one of the biggest sport training center in Mumbai. That's called CTC, Champions Training Center, where we will take care of only underprivileged children, and we will make sure that we provide the best of best sports facilities to them. कि कुछ भी हो जाए, आप स्पोर्ट्स खेलो, गलत कंपनियों में मत जाओ. आपको आगे कैसे होना है, बट आप स्पोर्ट्स खेलोगे तो ऑटोमेटिक आप सवर जाओगे लाइफ में. सो बहुत दुख होता है कभी कभी कि लोग आपको भूल जाते हैं कि आपने इतना कुछ किया है कंट्री के लिए, इतना कुछ सैक्रिफाइसेस किया है. मैं वही कहता हूँ कि मैं अपने लाइन में एक बोलता हूँ कि उगते सूरज को सब सलाम करते हैं, जब डूबता है ना तो लोग सोचते हैं कि चल पूरा दिन बहुत गर्मी हो गया, अभी ठंडा होने दे.
Mhm.
So that's the reality of life. We have to face it. But as I said, I'm born to shine, so I will keep shining in some way or the other. It's not only that you play, it's sometimes you can give back to the sport in such way
Mhm.
that you can produce many more such Yuvraj Walmikis and Devinder Walmiki who could go and represent country or
Correct.
better play than Yuvraj or Devinder. So
Mhm.
this is what I thrive for.
It's so great to hear that you're already giving back to the society in terms of equipments and making sure they have everything. Do you also plan to be a mentor to them? Do you also plan to become a coach in the future?
Not really a coach, I will say. A coach is a
Mhm.
very big word, I say. I always
100%.
tell to, because from Tuesday also I'm going to start. Whenever you're free, you can just come and see. So from Tuesday also, Churchgate, I'm going to start, and there are almost 20 kids every day. I always say this, I share my experience. Whatever
Mhm.
I learn in Germany, whether it's Hong Kong, Holland, wherever I have played, and whichever coaches I have played under, I try and implement all the tactics, drills, the latest training here in Mumbai. Same thing goes to Nasik. So it is only that one thing, I know it's too early to give back, but I always tell this कि जब आपके पास है तो आपको करना चाहिए. एंड मुझे कभी कभी बहुत बुरा लगता है, मैंने आज तक ये बात बोली नहीं है, मैं हमेशा ये बोलता हूँ कि बहुत सारे लोग हैं, हॉकी प्लेयर्स है, बड़े बड़े नाम हैं हॉकी में, उतना कुछ दिया है लोगों ने, एंड दे टॉक अबाउट चेंजिंग द स्पोर्ट एंड चेंजिंग द हॉकी. बट मैं एक चीज आज जरूर बोलना चाहूंगा कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आप दुनिया बदलने की कोशिश मत करो, या पूरे कंट्री में हॉकी सुधारने की कोशिश मत करो. अगर आप अपने नेबर को ही कन्विंस कर लोगे ना हॉकी खेलने के लिए, वही दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा जीत है. अगर 10 लाख लोग अगर इस देश में हॉकी खेलते हैं, अगर हर एक हॉकी प्लेयर ने जो भी जिसने छोटा मोटा जॉब भी लिया है हॉकी के थ्रू, या उनके घर पे 2 रोटी हॉकी की वजह से बनी है ना, if you could get your neighbor convinced ki boss hockey is a lovely sport, you should try and play hockey. From 10 lakhs it will become 20 lakhs. This is what I aim for. So you don't have to change the world, just change your mentality. Just go to your neighbor, knock and bolo aapka bachcha hai, chalo usko hockey khelne ke liye kya. You have to step out, you have to get down to the hockey field, and give back to the game. That's all. That's how the sports will change.
Well, I really, really like your vision, and I hope you're able to achieve that. So, wishing you the very best of luck for it.
Thank you so very much.
And other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the matter of age. When it comes to sports, a lot of people think that your age between 20 to 30 is your prime age, and that's after 30 is when your prime days start to end. Have you ever given this a thought? Like, what do you think about
Never
this
ever.
concept?
Never ever. I think when it comes to getting matured, I will say 18 to 21 is that age. एंड जो 21 के पहले आपने जितना सीख लिया है, जितना आपकी फिटनेस है, जितना आपका टैक्टिस है, जितना आपका स्टैमिना है, आई थिंक दैट इज दैट एज 18 to 21 where you can actually polish yourself, you can be at that. So 21 I think it starts. And yes, कहावत है कि हर गधा भी घोड़ा हो जाता है. So at after a point that you try to become more experienced, you become more mature, you become more calm, composed, because and this is human nature. When I played for first time for the country, my legs were shivering. It happens. It is I and there will be not even one sports person across the globe who will ever say that I went there and I was very confident. Deep down they have that anxiety कि यार गलत ना हो जाए अभी, और स्पेशली कंट्री लाइक इंडिया कि यार इस टाइम कुछ गलत कर दिया तो क्या पता नेक्स्ट टूर्नामेंट में रखेंगे या नहीं रखेंगे. सो क्योंकि मौका कम मिलता है हमारे देश में लोगों को, आपको जो मौका मिलता है उस पर आप क्लिक कर गए तो क्लिक कर गए. सो यस होता है, बट आई विल से 18 to 21 is the time that you can actually groom yourself and polish yourself to be at that and 21 is that right age where you make your mark into the Indian team, where I made in 21 and I was like sorted. And luckily I had very amazing senior players. They never let me any pressure. वो बोलते थे बिंदास डॉज मार, मैं हूँ पीछे संभालने के लिए. सो वो कभी कभी वो सीनियरिटी का भी फायदा होता है कि आपके जो पीछे वाले प्लेयर्स हैं, आपके सीनियर्स आपको कैसे लेके चलते हैं. सो आई हैड इग्नेशियस तिर्की, we used to play left half, one of the Padma Shri living legend. So he always told me कि छोटू टेंशन मत ले, जितना डॉज मारना है डॉज मार, मैं पीछे संभालता हूँ. So I think वो कभी कभी वो छोटी छोटी चीजें भी बहुत मैटर करती है.
Talking about senior players, I'm so glad that you brought that in. When you started off, you were a junior. Now you've become a senior player in all the teams that you work for. How has that transition been for you on the field?
पहले जब जूनियर रहते हैं तो आप you look up to someone. Then when you become senior, then people look up to you. So I think मैं यही बोलूंगा कि शायद बहुत से लोग इसको बाद में देखेंगे कि जितने भी सीनियर प्लेयर्स हैं, कभी भी आपके लाइफ में शायद कुछ गलत हुआ होगा, या आपको शायद सीनियर्स ने जो चीजें आपके साथ बुरी की होगी, या जो don't do it with the juniors. When you become seniors, always try. And also one thing, it's a decade difference हो जाता है, because I started in 2010, now it's 2021. 10 साल हो गए when I made a debut in the Indian team. Transition, adapt, वो decade का फर्क पड़ता है, mentality का फर्क पड़ता है. आज के जमाने में जो लोग क्या सोचते हैं मुझको उसके हिसाब से चलना पड़ता है, वो हिसाब से मुझे फ्रीडम देना पड़ता है. हमारे टाइम पे हमारे सीनियर्स नहीं सुनते थे, मतलब वी कैन नॉट इवन लाइक सिट ऑन वन टेबल एंड ईट. वो रिस्पेक्ट रहना पड़ता था कि अरे सीनियर प्लेयर बैठा है, like Ignatius Tirki is sitting, Dilip Tirki is sitting, you cannot even like look into the eyes and talk. Now generation is changed, people like, yo bro, come on here bro. So that's how they talk, and they talk but that's a good thing, now maybe I will say the Indian sport is getting better is because of that one thing, that there is no hidden, there's kuch andar हिचकिचाहट नहीं है. You can just go to any senior player. When you talk about cricket, मैं सारे इंटरव्यूज देखता हूँ, सारे, चाहे वो जसप्रीत बुमराह से लेके एनी क्रिकेटर, they always say that Virat Kohli has been a great help, because people go and talk to them because they are free, they are open for advices, they are open for talks कि भाई आपको बुरा कुछ लग रहा है, आप प्लीज रूम में आओ मेरे से बात. Like my team Central Railway, when I 2014 when I joined, लोग मेरे को साथ देख के डरते थे, अरे यू भैया आ गई भाई. अब मैं उनको बोलता हूँ यार प्लीज आओ, वो आते हैं, रूम में आते हैं, यू भैया थोड़ा प्रेशर आ रहा है, क्या करना है. सो आई विल से कि वो ट्रांजिशन में थोड़ा मजा भी आता है, बट मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे साथ भी बहुत गलत हुआ है, बट अगर मैं सेम चीज वो उनके साथ करूंगा तो उनमें और मेरे में कोई फर्क नहीं होगा. सो यू हैव टू बी द चेंज, सो दैट चेंज स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम यू, एंड मेक श्योर कि सी दैट स्मॉल स्मॉल डिटेल्स व्हाटएवर यू शेयर ना, वो कहीं ना कहीं जाके दे विल टॉक अबाउट यू. सो आई वांट ऑल माय जूनियर्स टू टॉक कि चलो यूवी भैया ने हमको कुछ अच्छा ही बताया ऑल दिस ईयर. सो आई थिंक या, and in that way क्या होता है ना, that's a process, it's a chain, and that's the legacy it should continue.
You mentioned there's a lot of wrong that has been done with you as well. I don't want you to get into the details what's gone wrong with you. I know there is a lot of politics that happens in sports, not only in India, it happens all across the globe. What I want to ask you is, how can one deal with that politics? Like, how can one deal with that pressure of politics?
I think whenever anything happens, it's very important to be okay. So long story short, I will say I've always been blessed with the friends I had in my life. I wherever or whenever I went through the shittest thing, I will say I always had my friends, my family. And one thing I understood when I look back, I always tell this: if you have a positive surrounding, if you have positive people around you, things become very easy. So always have quality over quantity, and have the best of best people around you to support you. And लोगों को परखना सीखो कि कौन आपके साथ रहेगा, कौन नहीं रहेगा. So that's very important to the younger generation कि rather than having 10 friends, have 2 who will stand by you no matter whether you get selected or whether you get dropped from the team. So it's very important to have positive people around you. That makes things
100%.
so easier. Imagine me missing out on 2 Olympics. So but never ever I've cried. ठीक है यार, कोई बात नहीं, because I had friends. एयरपोर्ट लैंड करने के साथ 4 लोग खड़े होते थे, मेरे दोस्त लोग, so that they never wanted कि मैं sad हो जाऊं कि कुछ चीज से, चल भाई चलो घूमने चलते, चलो get you away from this. And honestly, whenever we come back from any tournament or for 2-3 days we don't talk about hockey. It's like just no topic, no hockey topic is going to be like discussed. So it's like we have kept that, I've maintained that for years now.
Talking about camaraderie, talking about positive people, I want to come back to your journey. You mentioned that your brother played in the Rio Olympics. Your brother followed your steps in hockey, right? How is that battle between the both of you on pitch?
I think हमारे घर में पूरा एक बायोडेटा है, I will say कि I had a dream of playing the Olympics, but he lived my dreams, and that's what, when media came to my house, when he got selected, he was in Bangalore. जैसे team announced हुआ था, in 1 hour media was there outside my house, and they asked me, what is your feeling? And the first line I said, my brother is living up the dreams of playing in the Olympics. So वो मैं ओलंपिक्स खेला, मतलब वो ओलंपिक्स खेला, आई प्लेड द वर्ल्ड कप, हम दोनों चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी खेले, हम दोनों एशियन चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी खेले. तो हमें ऐसा लगता है कि जब घर में पूरे सब चारों लोग देखते हैं तो ऐसा लगता है कि पूरा तो हॉकी का तो पूरा बायोडेटा हमारे घर पे. एंड that healthy competition is there and it is must, but it's very it's very परसों के दिन भी मैंने इंटरव्यू में बोला था, थोड़ा अजीब है कि हमारे जब हमने सामने कभी मैच होता है, हम सुबह साथ में ऑब्वियसली एक ही घर में तो उठते हैं, एक ही साथ ब्रेकफास्ट करते हैं, एक ही साथ मतलब हम तैयार करते हैं बैग, एक ही गाड़ी में बैठ के जाते हैं, सिर्फ ड्रेसिंग रूम चेंज हो जाता है, फिर ग्राउंड पे थोड़ा धक्का मुक्की होता है, फिर साथ में बैठ के चाय पीते हैं, फिर वापस घर पे बैठ के आते हैं. सो ठीक है, एंड मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हेल्दी कंपटीशन हमेशा रहना चाहिए.
100%.
वन शुडंट बी टू इजियर, एंड आई ऑलवेज टेल दिस घर भाई घर पे यहाँ पर हम लोग ओपोनेंट है, एंड दैट हेल्दी कंपटीशन हैज स्टिल बीन मेंटेन्ड फॉर इयर्स नाउ. एंड ऐसा नहीं कि हम मार वार के खेलते, बट देन it's always a healthy competition.
Mhm.
Sometimes I learn a lot from him, he
Mhm.
learns from me, so it's always like
Okay.
give and take policy.
That's a great relationship to hear about. Super cool. I have a brother, so I can understand that relationship. Coming towards the end of the podcast, I want to ask you, what does the future hold for you? You have been very active on social media recently, like you said. What does the future hold for you now?
There have been a huge gap of players coming from Mumbai and going on representing their country. It's a huge gap, I will say. Our just aim is to provide basic amenities, equipments to the underprivileged children. This is what I am right now for. And as I said, once the school starts, at least I will make sure that by end of 2022, I would love to give you my interview again to you, and I will definitely make sure that we will at least have 400 schools under
Mhm.
our belt, under our training center, at least few players going and representing the state, the
Mhm.
district, slowly gradually the country. And जैसे आज हम ओलंपिक्स में देखते हैं, हम लड़कियां कितना अच्छा कर रही हैं, चाहे वो पीवी सिंधु हो, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ ड्यूटी चंद हो, females are getting more medals than the men, and
Mhm.
I want to encourage the girls to play sport, pick up any
Mhm.
sport, just play. You need anything, I'm standing there, I will provide you all the support, but just go and play a sport and
Mhm.
make India a sporting nation. Because the money has been put at the higher level, right? When you talk about IPL, there are crores of money. When you talk about Indian hockey, they're only at the top, but no one cares about the grassroots, and the youth are the future of our country. We need to actually concentrate on the grassroots.
Mhm.
Catch hold of 6 7 years old kid, keep a tap on him until he becomes 18. So I think that's very important to consider on grassroots, and that which I will do at least in Mumbai, then
Mhm.
slowly gradually maybe in Pune, or in the Maharashtra. So yeah, let's see, hope for the
Well,
best.
like I said earlier, I love your vision. I want to wish you the very best of luck. But
Thank you,
I
thank
but
you.
I but I also have one last question for you, and that is, what is one advice you wish you had received before starting your journey?
Never get too easy in life when you get something. So
Mhm.
I think that one thing, maybe you're the first one I will say, मैंने किसको बोला है कि I always had that hunger, वो इतनी भूख थी to represent the country. I don't know, when I received that first jersey, when I won the first Asian Champions trophy, when I in a week time I got 80 lakh rupees, as a hockey
Mhm.
player, कभी किसको नहीं मिला. तो कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा सा माइंड डाइवर्ट हो गया. तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि उस टाइम अगर एक कोई संभालने वाला होता था ना, तो शायद I would be a different Yuvraj, or probably I would have played for more 2 3 years. The
Mhm.
reason my brother has been very sorted in his life in terms of thinking, mentality, vision, is because I always, whatever steps he takes, I tell the ये track गलत है, ये track पे मैं गया था, खराब हो गया, you don't do this. So there was no one to make me understand what I'm doing. So I will say that one advice I will say कि आपको लाइफ में कितना भी कुछ मिल जाए, आज शायद लोग मुझे बोलते हैं मैं बहुत ग्राउंडेड हूँ, विच आई एम, बट आई थिंक वो एक मोमेंट ऐसा हो गया था कि मैं थोड़ा सा अपना मेहनत 5 to 10% कम कर दिया था. तो आई
Mhm.
थिंक वन एडवाइस टू ऑल द यंगस्टर्स, जो भी आपको लाइफ में मिल जाए, ऑलवेज लुक डाउन एंड थिंक कहाँ से शुरुआत किया था और कहाँ पहुंचे हो. जस्ट डोंट गेट इजी. मुझे एक लाइन है, मैं बोलना चाहूंगा बिफोर वी एंड दिस, कि इंसान कोई भी मुकाम पर पहुंच जाता है, बट जिस दिन मुकाम पर पहुंचने के बाद अगर मेहनत करते हैं उसको लाजमी बोलते हैं. शायद वो लाजमी मेरे में थोड़ा सा कमी हो गया था, बट देन जो गलती मुझसे हो गई, आई मेक श्योर दैट आगे वाले जनरेशन को नहीं हो, कि आप एक मुकाम पर पहुंच जाओ, उसके बाद भी मेहनत करते रहोगे तो आपको कोई टीम से निकाल नहीं सकता है. दैट्स वेरी
I,
इंपॉर्टेंट.
I think it takes a brave man to say those words. So thank you for saying that. Thank you for
थैंक
coming
यू,
on and saying that. I think
थैंक
that's a
यू,
great note to end on. I'm sure a lot of young sports players in this country are going to get inspired by this. So thank you
थैंक यू
so
सो
much,
वेरी मच.
Yuvraj. It was an honor to have you on the Career
थैंक यू,
Show.
थैंक यू, थैंक यू सो वेरी मच. थैंक यू.
I hope you enjoyed this week's career discussion. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means a lot.